from ABSA, going the extra mile to get you financed.
Go! The final event of the year, round 8, the Ford Carnival City 400 has become known for it and indeed lived up to its reputation as a rainmaker, with heavy and continuous downpours turning the already demanding route into a quagmire. Apart from settling some outstanding championship issues, the East Rand race also provided the Japanese marque Toyota with a dream result. As cars prepared for a very final rush at the finish line, the clouds were starting to build up. And at the top of the championship heap, Hannes Grobler and Francois Jordan had done their bit and had clinched the crown. Grobler for the 4th time in a glittering career. The Ford pairing were just too far back to do anything about it, and Nissan teammates Foss and Pitchford supported beautifully. But the manufacturer's trophy was well poised, and any one of the two protagonists, Nissan or Toyota, would come out firing and would then have a shot at taking the trophy back to HQ. Title number 26 for Alfie Cox, with a 1-2-3 at the top for the Motorrad crew. A phenomenal performance. Bevan Berthold and Robin Houghton in the Castrol Toyota Hilux brushed aside the treacherous conditions to give Toyota their first win since the Barberspun 500 in 2002. It was a result that also helped Toyota clinch the prestigious South African Manufacturers' Championship ahead of arch-rivals Nissan. For Houghton, it was a special moment in that he was also part of the 2002 win with R.P. Reinicker in a Toyota Land Cruiser. Second were Neil Woolridge and Kenny Scholthammer in the Works Ford Racing Ranger, with this drive enough to see them win the super production class ahead of overall SA champions Hannes Grobler and Francois Jordan in the proudly South African Nissan Navara. Both Grobler and Jordan and teammates Duncan Foss and Ralph Pitchford were casualties via steering problems, with the Nissan team suffering its first double non-finish since, incidentally, the Ford Carnival City 400 way back in 2003. Track star Mark Cronje and veteran Chris Birkin in their Castrol Toyota had shown signs of a mid-season improvement, but they failed here in the rain and mud of the East Rand as their car battled to come to terms with the extreme conditions. While Rob Gurney's fine season continued despite the harsh realities of ploughing through mud, sometimes at just enough speed to get stuck and little enough not to hurt the engine. A great performance saw Arnold Du Plessis and Johan Knox in the red BB Auto Nissan Hardbody come home 3rd overall and 1st in Class D. Indeed, it was a victory which put an end to a 7-race winning streak by Toyota. Hichu and Jaap de Bruin came 2nd in class in the Castrol Toyota Hilux, and Yuri and Andre Du Plessis followed them home in 3rd in a 2nd BB Auto Nissan, but the cars certainly took a pounding in the mud. 4th overall and Class E winners were Jack Peckham and Ward Huxtable in the Ford Racing Ranger. Peckham was standing in for recently crowned Class E champion Manfred Schroeder, with the pair coming in ahead of brothers Mark and Stuart Moffat in the Bosel Toyota Hilux. Schroeder was out because of a broken collarbone. Still, he was the champion for 2006. And it took some really careful driving to negotiate some of this mud stuff. 3rd and 4th in Class E went to privateer Jannie Visser and Joks Leroux in a Toyota Hilux, and the husband and wife team of George and Sharon Barkhuizen in the Roacon Toyota Hilux, who ended the season with a flourish after their win on the Toyota Dealer 400. On the special vehicle front, the Motorrad Bat team scored its 6th win of the season when Evan Hutchison and Kim Bergman won the special vehicle category. Hutchison and Bergman outlasted the rest of the field to grind out their 2nd win of the season and round out a highly successful championship for the Motorrad Bat squad. But let it never be said that the competition out there between the specials wasn't fierce. 4 of the big contenders up there in the front, covered by only a few seconds. And then on top of it all, you got a very cold shower every 10 seconds or so. But Hutchison and Bergman were certainly in a class of their own, especially on the second day of the racing. And when all was said and done, it was a great victory for them. Alfie Cox and Henny Testejo won the overall and Class A championship, and along with Brandon Harkis also scored 2 wins during the season. Out of almost 80, only 9 cars overcame the atrocious conditions to make it to the finish, and it was outgoing SA champions Terence Marsh and Mike Whitehouse in the Nasher Mobile Bat who came in second. Marsh and Whitehouse were 20 minutes behind Hutchison and Bergman, with Lesotho crew John Moore and Ashley Thorne third in the Free Spirit Chev in their best performance of the season by far. But whatever the case, just getting to the line in this one was an achievement of monumental proportions. Drivers and their steeds were falling by the wayside at a rate of knots. Fourth were Gerard and Kobe Duplessis in a Jimco, with Class B winners Jan and Hendrik Kraai in the Keymax Bat rounding out the top 5. For the Kraais, victory was not enough to give them the Class B title in their first season of off-road racing, but what we can suggest is watch out for them in 2007. Seventh overall and second in Class B was however enough to give the rather exhausted-looking Ernest Corbett and Warwick Goosen in the Century Property Developments Bat the championship by a 5-point winning margin. And you could tell by the faces that the strain was telling. Nasher Mobile Racing crew Archie Rutherford and Craig Doubtfire were first home in Class S, where Nick Gosler and the Kopanang Hotel Super Team Raceco wrapped up the Drivers' Championship despite withdrawing from the race after the first of the 2 180-kilometer loops. Gosler was suffering from blurred vision from all the mud on the route and handed over the car to co-driver Richard Carolyn for the final loop. Reigning champion Richard Schilling in the Plastotech Aceco retired with a blown motor. After 6.5 hours of some stuff that would have made Ryk Neethling ask for a life raft, the line was in sight for the Toyota, and their pit crew were ecstatic, and so they should have been. Berthold and Houghton with a season-ending cherry on top of the cake. For Ford, it was a fine return to form after a superb season, with a BB Auto Nissan team who could also look back on a very successful 2006. A fine win for the Toyota outfit and a beaming Bevan Berthold. This victory is one which should set them straight for 2007. The specials, and it was a tough old time out there, what with no windscreens, but not when you win as Hutchison did. For Motorrad, he was all smiles after a 2-win season. Toyota's win, however, just was not enough to grab the spotlight away from Nissan, who grabbed their 6th national off-road title in a row. Hannes Grobler is definitely the man. On the specials front, it was a 2nd national off-road title in a row for Alfie Cox, and the mustachioed Marauder still has a few more in him, we believe. And a great win for Toyota, who claimed the manufacturer's trophy by 51 points from the 05 champions Nissan. Until 07, you keep it on the road, we'll keep it off-road.
That was the ultimate